Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Build and Breathe. This is a podcast that is meant to really help you improve your professional life as well as your life outside of your professional career.
I'm Cory Silva. I'm a girl dad, founder of a custom software agency, and a former athlete trying to figure out my fitness journey, here to explore the grind, the growth, and the game of building business and life at the same time.
And my name is Nik Andrews, also an entrepreneur, fitness expert that is published both in radio and TV, and an actor. I am currently building the most comprehensive and value-packed corporate wellness product on the market. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome to Build and Breathe.
Yo, yo, yo. Hello, everyone. Yeah, nice big breath from Nik over there. Welcome to our first segment, Optimize a Trend. I feel like we should just talk about how to optimize ourselves right now, because I feel like we're both having a little bit of a tough go right now. Yeah, just so everyone knows, I'm in some pain, Nik's in some pain, but we're here and we're gonna get through these segments today. But
every sip
the
of
first
tea is godsend for me right
there
now.
we go. There you go. So optimize a trend. This is where we talk about, trends, fads, like kind of anything that's kind of big out there right now in the, I would say, fitness, wellness world. And we talk about, like, one, how can we optimize that trend for ourselves? How can you optimize a trend for yourselves? And is there any merit in it? If we were to adopt it, how would we adopt it? So last week we talked about like creatine trend or cold plunging. The week before was creatine trends, and we talked about AI as well too. Today, I think everyone will definitely resonate with this one. We're asking the question, why the heck is there protein in literally everything nowadays? This is such a big thing. It has been for the last couple of years, I would say. But like literally there's like people talk about protein coffees, protein like milk, obviously like protein bars and protein shakes have been around for a long time, but it's about putting like protein in literally everything that maybe naturally hasn't had protein in it before.
Dude, Starbucks just released ice refresher with protein in it.
Yeah, and there's this, to me, you know what this reminds me of? This trend? It reminds me of the greenwashing trend, where everyone was trying to like show that they had a green product, environmentally friendly. Like that's kind of what this feels like to me, is that like I would say CPG companies are feeling like they put protein or put the word protein and put it in their products. People are more likely to buy it because there's been a huge hype to ingest more protein, which I'm not against, because I think we talked about before, a lot of people probably underserve their protein. So I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but I feel like it's just being shoved down our throats right now with like so many things.
Yeah. Yeah, you bring up a good point. Like the lens of like, why are we seeing it is because companies are pushing it because they know that they will likely sell more of their product, because they put like, I'm surprised cheese doesn't shove like the fact that it's like high source of protein as like a big bold lettering. They do have it. A lot of them do have it, but like it's
Yeah,
not as pronounced because it'll be like, brie, and
just
brie
free.
will just say brie product of, I don't know, Italy or France or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But cheeses are generally dense in protein too, but they just haven't gotten into the marketing hype of it all, versus everything else seems to be falling in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest pet peeve with it definitely is when it's like 5 grams of protein and then it'll say like source of protein. It's like, yeah, I mean, like my oatmeal has more, like
Right.
there's, I think that people really read, I mean, the society in general is always like falling victim into like reading the loudest headline, right? Or the loudest like lettering, versus turning back and looking at the label. I think this is like a metaphor for life almost, right? Or an analogy where you should never take things at face value. You should turn around the product and see what's on the back. And source of protein just simply means that there's some protein elements in it. How much and is it an efficient source of protein is a completely different conversation.
Yeah, I
A
would
lot of
say
times it's
so.
not.
Yeah, no, dude, absolutely. And like another thing that just came to mind for me is like I feel like another reason why this is also coming up very often is carbs got a bad rap to it over the last several years. Like, so I think it started with people like, oh, cutting out carbs, no carb diet, like all this sort of stuff. And then protein kind of got the the hero part of it, which is like protein's good. You need more protein. And I think those
Yeah.
kind of happened like sequentially. And so now like you see it in, I would say, more carb heavy products saying that they are a source of protein because protein is being deemed as like the good guy and carbs is being deemed as like the bad guy. And so that's another thing I'm seeing. But like to your point, like so many things have no business even saying they're a source of protein, because they have like probably next to none. So, when we talk about like this trend of whether or not, like, so for myself, like I don't really go after um anything that I would say would naturally not need protein in it, like protein coffee, for instance, or protein milk, for instance. Like, I don't really lean towards those things. I try to stay true to just like you can get your protein from like other sources, and I'm still working on that. But like, getting your protein from just like Whole Foods, from protein shakes, from like that kind of stuff. Like, you don't need to necessarily have protein in your coffee, for instance, to like get your protein in. Like, just go enjoy your coffee
Or
is
enjoy the
like my
coffee. Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it shouldn't be a factor to convince you to buy it. Just like go enjoy your coffee, go enjoy, I don't know, whatever, like the regular milk that you want to get. You don't have to get like the super high protein milk,
Sure. Sure.
whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm the same as you, but I'm also not against like if somebody wants to have a protein thing within their snack. Like at this point, if I have a sweet tooth, I rarely actually have sweets. Usually I found some protein bars that I absolutely love that are made in the States here. Not to say that I don't have regular treats, I do, but majority of the time that is sort of that sweet tooth craving that I have. And the reason it's good is because it has an emphasis on slightly less carbohydrates and slightly more protein, versus if I had a regular chocolate bar, it would be all carbs, all fats. And it's
mm,
not about demonizing carbs, but it is about like empty nutrition. So if I'm going to feel full, what is that thing that's making me feel full, like on a nutritional back end side, right? And a protein bar that tastes similar to a candy bar is more beneficial in the duration of the day than just the bar. So yeah, that said, if I'm craving like a Snickers bar, I'm just gonna get a Snickers bar. Specifically, I'm craving a Snickers bar. I know a protein bar that tastes like 75%, 80%, 60% like a Snickers bar. So I will reach for that first. Yeah. And if that doesn't satisfy, it doesn't. The other thing that I've been hearing, like I just had this conversation, I think this past week, where like there's still a huge disconnect between like like you said, carbs are bad. Carbs are like the evil spirit that's in the room, right?
yep,
But sugars from fruit are good. And I don't understand the logic. I think so, like to the point where the disconnect from this person that I was having the conversation with was like fruits from sugar is a freebie. You can eat as much as you want, but
yep,
carbs are
mm-hmm,
bad. And I'm like, but they're the same thing. They're within the same category.
yep, yep,
There are worse carbs to have, and there are better carbs to have, similar to how you could have worse protein sources and better protein sources. So protein is not the all emerging saint that like can't do any wrong. Like there are bad protein sources too. Um, but this bizarre thing of like carbs are bad, but fruit sugars are good is such a interesting logical gap in my opinion. It's a head scratcher. Like I literally scratched my head just now thinking about it. But yeah, really what it is it's just I think a lack of complete understanding of what it is, right?
it totally is. Yeah, I don't. That one's an interesting one. It's down the same line as like the, being environmentally friendly type of vibe. Like, eating fruits is like seen as like a very, high on the wellness list of things to consume. And so yeah, there seems to be a freebie with it, but I'm like, you can make a smoothie in the morning with all these fruits in it, and I'm like, you could crush like 60 grams of carbs like right there and then, but then like eating like, 2 slices of like sourdough bread is like, a big no-no or something like that. Like that's
Right,
a really,
right.
really
Maybe
dense like bread, like,
yeah, like put it into numbers, right? Like let's take your example because that's perfect. You make a smoothie. You make a healthy smoothie because they're always going to throw like people like this in this conversation are like, "Oh no, I eat healthy." You don't understand. I eat healthy. Like I have this green smoothie. I'm like, "Tell me about your green smoothie." Well, I have a little bit of spinach. I'm like, "Cool, great." And then I throw some apples in there. Uh-huh. Then I throw some dates. Mm-hmm. And then I throw some honey. That's really good. And then
yeah,
I and then I throw some berries in there. I was like, you are describing to me about 40-ish, 45 grams of sugar
yeah,
to me. But to me, it's null and void. Like, or to them, sorry, to them, it's null and void. And they're like, oh, but it's healthy sugars. It's all from fruits. Like, I can have as many as I want, right? I would rather you have a slice of sourdough bread that is 15 to 20 grams of carbs rather than 45 grams of carbs. And the sourdough would break down slower than all your fruit sugar. It would spike your insulin levels less. You would have less of an energy crash. Your brain would probably operate a little bit more smoothly throughout the day, right? I mean, the fruits would probably make you feel really good, like really happy about yourself. The reason you are feeling good about eating that healthy stuff is because your sugar levels are jacked up.
yeah,
Like after that.
exactly.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what the disconnect is like when you eat fruit sugars, one, you think it's fully okay to eat as many as you want, so you do. And when you do, there's this literal physiological effect of like absorbing that sugar that makes you feel a sugar high. And people are like, it's because of the
Hmm.
fruit. Like I feel
Yeah,
great when really your body's about to process that into fat if you don't use that energy, right? Like
yeah, and I think actually another, how do I want to describe this? Like another like reason as to why I think many people get caught in this like logic behind it is that, like, I'll use the bread as the example. Like bread is something that a human makes. Like we make that from ingredients. Fruit is just generally something that's from nature. And so I think to them it's like, oh, it's healthier because it comes almost directly from like a plant of some sort. Whereas like bread is like, oh, that was created by us, so therefore is not natural and therefore maybe not as healthy. I think that's like maybe sometimes like the web of thoughts that potentially come into people's head.
yeah. But then I feel like those same people will look at like medicine and say, no, but like medicine is needed and necessary
Oh, totally.
to cure illness.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
It's
sure.
like, well,
Yeah,
that's very much lab made. And I don't disagree
they're
with that. Like,
selective.
yeah, yes, I agree. You need medicine, but like it's not as simple as like, oh, from earth good, from lab bad. Yeah, it goes beyond that. It's a little more complicated. It's a little more complex.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree, man.
Should
Cool.
we
Let's
cycle back to the
so let's
protein
go
thing?
back to the question here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back to the question here. Like, why the heck is there protein in everything? So we talked about a few things. One, I think there's like an industry aspect to it where protein is seen as like more healthy, as the good guy. People are so they're pushing it down your throat a little bit because they know you were thinking that way. So, and should you be getting it? I think Nik, you kind of talked a little bit about it. It's like, yeah, I think if you can opt for maybe some protein like snacks and stuff like that, like definitely don't shy away from it. But also, like the mindset is that if you want to go eat something, go eat something, or if you want to go have your coffee, go have your coffee. Like it doesn't have to have protein in it necessarily. But many protein options, like Nik was talking about, like a chocolate bar versus like a protein bar that tastes very similar, go with the one maybe that is a little bit more nutrient dense,
If it's a
right?
daily, that's what I'll say. If it's a daily habit to have a Snickers bar, find a healthier substitution. If it's a one-off, have your Snickers bar, man. Enjoy. Okay, squad. Next section is called Fluffy to Buffy. This is where we talk about Cory's fitness journey and we follow along. I'm coaching him through his next progression section of his fitness goals and physiological goals. He's currently prepping to run a marathon next weekend. This weekend, this weekend. It's coming fast.
Yep.
And then after that,
Yep.
it's going to be a switch of goal sets to body recomposition, better body recomposition, where he's going to drop fat and look all sexy for next spring. Cory, gonna spin it to you, man. How you feeling this week? Talk to me about your training. Talk to me about emotions and how your body's feeling coming into the week of race.
Yeah. So this week was supposed to be recovery week for me. In terms of like physical activity, the recovery's been going okay. I had to shift some workouts around. I was supposed to have one on Wednesday, had to move it to yesterday, and then I'm still got to do one today, and then got to do one more shakeout run tomorrow. But overall, so from physical activity perspective, pretty good. Mentally wise, tough, really tough this week. I brought it up before starting, but so everyone's a little bit aware. I'm very prone to canker sores, and I have a bunch right now, and so it hurts to eat, it hurts to talk. It's made eating meals very painful. It's been making it very hard to like take in proper food, even to a point usually where I start a meal, it hurts so much I just stop being hungry, and like I've had to like skip meals. I've like completely like, yeah, it's been a bit of a mess nutrition wise this week. And then even energy wise for my workouts, like just this puts a whole damper on everything because I'm obviously not eating enough now. I feel lower energy. But the last like yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I'm been really trying to just eat anyways, even if it's painful, even if I'm not hungry, because I actually need some like a little bit extra carbs. I definitely need my protein because I'm heading into my race weekend, and so I need to have my energy stores up. And right now, they kind of feel like mediocre. So it's been a
Yeah,
tough week, man.
yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I'm looking at your platform records here. For those listening, I'm looking at Cory's kind of like breakdown of training. So I'm seeing everything he's saying, and I'm seeing the nutrition. I was gonna ask what happened, and it makes sense. It's an interesting situation with the canker sores, right? But if it limits your ability to eat, it's gonna show up as problems on the nutrition side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Cory, your race is Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think given the circumstances of the canker sores and more importantly, like what that's caused nutritionally. So for those of you that are again listening, Cory's essentially been undereating. When I look at his stats on his best day, he's at least 100 calories short. And that's not even technically his maintenance level because we didn't have a calorie goal yet. We were just focusing on a protein goal. Protein goals were met for 3 out of the 5 days of the week so far, but really falling shy on the rest of the calories right now, which is that's gonna show up in energy levels, that's gonna show up in recovery, that's gonna show up in sleep. So I think right now the best thing we can do, Cory, is to eliminate your third. So Cory's done 2 weight training sessions out of 3. I think the best thing we can do is to eliminate that third weight training session prior to the race. I just don't think that there's any room for that right now with where your calories are sitting and with where your recovery is at. You need to get those energy levels up. So I'm going to delete that off of your calendar for that. That's going to be the first step. The second step is going to be to fat load as much as possible. When I say fat load, I don't mean body fat. What I mean is nutritionally. So when you run long distance, when you do long endurance sports that are not sprint related, carbohydrates are actually the lesser efficient energy within the body that the body pulls from.
Mm-hmm.
Fats tend to serve you a little bit better. So with you actually running a literal marathon, you should definitely be focusing on eating healthier fats right now prior to the race. That's going to do a couple things. It'll lubricate your joints nicely too, so it'll provide a little bit of that anti-inflammatory kind of situation. But more importantly, from an energy standpoint, it should give you a slightly more sustained energy level. It doesn't mean eliminate carbs. This is not a high fat, low carb diet. It's not categorical or anything like that. I'm just saying to you currently your target is 75 grams of fat. I think that's pretty good. If you want to surpass that a little bit, you can, but at least this is something to strive for. So hitting protein at 185 and hitting fats at 75 at least for the next couple of days will serve you pretty well.
Okay.
Try to eat at least your 22, but you should be at least 2200 calories, but you should be ideally eating more. I understand with your mouth, it's going to be a little bit tricky right now, but I
Yeah.
would say stock up on avocados.
Okay.
Blend into your protein smoothies right now. Um, that's a good source of your omega sixes, right? Nuts are going to be annoying and painful, so don't worry about that. And then maybe just some fattier fish and fattier meats if you can get the protein sources in would be your selects for the next 2 days. Then we have to do a little damage control out of it. I think after race day, because we don't usually talk until Friday, right? We'll probably check in halfway through the week just to see where you're at in terms of like if anything popped up, if a joint feels weird or whatever, right? But I would suggest at least a 2 day window of recovery, possibly three. And then we'll check in on Wednesday, see how you're feeling, and then we'll go from there in terms of just a light workout to exit you out of that. Next week is also going to be light. We're not going to be strength training heavy just yet, just because your body's probably not going to be ready for that yet. Your hormones are going to be all out of whack as well. So we'll have to just curate a nice, safe, cozy environment for you to heal in.
Sounds good.
You hit the iron again, I should say, not the pavement. Yeah. Does that make sense and is clear?
Does make sense. It is clear. Yeah, I think for me, I'll just most important thing is just getting that nutrition in, literally today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Prior to the race Sunday morning. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, for those like listening, nutrition is purposeful. It's not just good, bad. It highly depends on your functionality. It highly depends on your body and what your body needs. It depends on if you're a man or a woman. It depends if you're a woman. It depends on where you are in your cycle. And for anybody, again, like you're running a marathon race, you're going to need a certain type of nutrition that matches that better. You're lifting. How are you lifting? Are you doing just like, hypertrophy, high volume stuff with slightly lighter weight, or are you powerlifting? If you're powerlifting, you're going to want a different set of nutrition than if you're building hypertrophy type of stuff, right? So all of that varies, and all of that adjusts. And nutrition is a living, breathing thing. There's no like, this is what you're doing for the next 16 weeks and go, or for the rest of your life and go. It's going to adapt to your lifestyle. It's going to adapt to your activity levels. How's your body? How are joints?
I will say too, as well, as you're typing there, for like the workouts as well too that I did do. If you noticed on like the timing of them, like they were a lot shorter than what they normally are, and that was very purposeful when I was doing them because like my energies were low. I knew I was doing like lower weight, higher volume, so I took shorter rests. So like any rest periods that were like 2 minutes, I shut them down to one. And truthfully too, like part of it was energy. Another part of it was like actual time. Like both those workouts were in the evenings, which is when I normally do not work out. Like these were like right before bed, like working out like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And I normally don't do that. I usually work out in the morning, but I've been so busy with work that I haven't been doing that time this week. And so like I've switched it. And so yeah, shorter workouts because of energy and because I was doing them at night, which is two recipes for disaster for me when it comes to having a solid workout.
Right, right. Well, not the worst week to land on that. I think the only feedback I'd give is like the speed up of rest shouldn't be in lieu of feeling burnt out. Because you can burn yourself out with 5-pound weights if you wanted to, right? Like just rep out to hell and don't rest at all and just go for 3 minutes straight. It's not really the purpose of like the recovery week, right? But it doesn't sound like you burnt out from the workouts, which is good to hear. It sounds like mostly, honestly, if I had to put my finger on it, I think it's the canker sores leading to the nutrition leading to all the running that you're doing right now, and then that is what's making you fall apart. It's unfortunate timing.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it is. So
Hopefully those get a little bit easier. I mean, I imagine running with canker sores is also not very fun if it's just consistent pain. Yeah. Yeah. Do those things for like your throat help? Like the menthol stuff?
no, no, those won't help. No, no. You need like actual like canker
The
sore
good
medicine.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
The lab made stuff.
That's right. The lab made
Right.
stuff that just burns your soul. That's what you need.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah.
Protein. Good source of protein.
Yeah.
Bong.
Yes, that was better. Hello everyone. Welcome to our touch grass segment where we basically this is for us to ground ourselves in the week that just occurred. We talk about our wins, talk about our challenges, and then talk about maybe a little bit about what we want to do to improve that heading into the next week, or what things that we're trying to help improve it. So let's maybe, let's actually switch it up a little bit. Let's maybe start with a win, Nick, and then we'll go to our challenges, and then we'll talk about how we can, maybe and try to improve that or what we're
Yeah.
thinking of doing.
That's a good idea. A sandwich method.
Yeah.
All right, my wins. I ended up actually posting on LinkedIn for the first time. I scheduled 2 posts. Finally broke that mental
Nice.
barrier. What a weird thing. Just like to start because I used to post so regularly on social media. I used to be an influencer back in the day, and then I broke that like 5 years ago on
Mm-hmm.
purpose. It was a very purposeful decision, and since then, any kind of regularity within the social space has been an absolute nightmare task for me
Right.
for an assortment of reasons. Anyway, I broke that for myself finally. So now I think the goal and the task for me is regularity. So with that win, now comes the follow up of I need to now schedule time and to continue scheduling things.
Right.
Honestly, I actually think that's a little bit easier. I really do think that starting is always the worst because that's when there is an element of putting yourself out there. There is an element of like, man, this is gonna seem so idiotic out of the blue to just like start something, right?
Yeah.
That is a thing, right? And I'm not immune to it at all. I'm generally pretty good at doing things that I'm bad at and feeling okay about it. But yeah, for whatever reason, this one took me a little bit longer to get through. And yeah, here we are. We're
There you
we're
go.
live. That's a win. Yeah,
You
I'll leave it
did
at
it.
that. I'll leave that one win.
Nice, nice. Okay, I'll go with my win now. So my win, which honestly, look, trying to think about the week is a really hard one. Um, we haven't actually. I don't even know if I've shared the video with my parents, but so dad win here. Sienna sort of took her own first steps by herself. This week. So Rochelle and I, my fiance, we were kind of like sitting across from each other on the carpet, and then like we would kind of like let her walk. She's holding her hands, and then we'd like go, and she would like keep going the other person, and she did pretty well. There's a few where she was actually like kind of walking on her own, so that was pretty cool. Just when as a I guess as a parent, just seeing your kid develop. So that was really exciting. For a week filled with like really annoying pain and low energy, that was like a very exciting moment. So
Awesome. Yay! Congrats. She's gonna be running the marathon with you in no time. Yeah, 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 yeah. I wouldn't want to sit in a stroller for 4 hours. So I wouldn't put my child through that either.
yeah, cool. Okay, now how about a challenge for you, man?
A challenge for me. Okay. It's a working challenge, so it's not something that was broken or anything like that. But I just got my
Mm-hmm.
contract renewed for I was doing a wellness solution for a residential building, so that just got renewed for another month. It's just a month at a time right now, which is great.
Nice.
This is a product that I got the good fortune of building from this initial contract. It was not a premeditated idea. It was a solution that was asked, like somebody approached me, the owner of the building approached me and was like, "Can you build this?" And I said, "Sure, let me figure it out." So I started designing some things, and week by week, it got better to the point where now it's a more cohesive package offering. And now I get another month of oxygen to continue building it. So I want to add a few more features to it and make it a little bit better. My challenge is twofold: to now finesse it a little bit more, but then expand it and extend it into other contracts, other locations. And I want to see how that shifts my timing allocation. So away from some of the other things that I do. And so I'm just trying to figure out a workflow that something's going to need to go. Something's going to need to be reduced. And that is the challenge right now, is to try to figure out what is going to need to be reduced.
Gotcha.
Time management, mostly. Yeah. Aside from that, honestly, that's the only one that's most recently on my mind right now. Genuinely, everything else is going well, man. This was a good week for me. I had my writing sessions for the feature film. I had some auditions. I got into more casting offices that I've never been seen
Nice.
by before in
Heck
the
yeah.
States, which is a new growing emerging market for me.
Yeah.
One of the movies that I was in briefly just got picked up by Netflix, which nobody assumed that was going to happen. It was previously on Hallmark. So there's so much fluidity in the film market right now, and in the entertainment world, where like there's crossbreeding happening, right? Like a project is no longer here to stay on this platform. It can start here and then it'll end up on Amazon, Netflix, or Tubi for the smaller ones, or whatever, right? Like, but it's a free flowing market again, which is kind of exciting and kind of cool.
That is cool.
So yeah, one of the lead actors on there, him and I are still in touch, and he posted on his Instagram. And the director of that movie was the second unit director, who's like, that's the kind of stunt director for anybody not in the know, for the show that I just did in September and August. So him and I reconnected by chance. He showed up on one of my stunt days, and it's funny. He introduced himself, but when I first met him, he didn't have a beard. He introduced himself. He had a full beard. And then when he met me on the Christmas movie, I had a scruff. I had a thick scruff. And then on this show, I was clean shaven. So neither of us like recognized each other for a split second, and then we ended up laughing about it and then catching up over it and stuff.
That's so funny. But man, it sounds like say that's awesome. So lots of wins this week. It was a good week for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the challenge around time management. How do you think you're gonna approach
the time management? Well, I'm going to take it one at a time.
Yeah.
So I have the product improvement side, right? So we're going to finesse that, make sure that that's good. Then I'm going to have the conversations of expanding the contract. I already started those conversations. So I'm going to see those through. And I'm going to push and see where we land in terms of like the expectations of deliverables. And then from there, the way I see it is, I need to win these contracts, and the rest will need to be sacrificed to make room for these contracts. So I think it's product improvement, conversations, negotiations, and then adaptability from there. Adaptability is really going to be the last thing. Yeah, and it's just going to be a case by case basis. I think worst case scenario, I'm going to have to give like a week or two notice to certain things. Best case scenario, I'm going to have a month lead in. But I think it's one of those things where I have a lot of control within the negotiation. If I want to buy myself more time,
Yeah. Awesome. That's a good approach, man. Cool. My own challenge. I'll talk about mine now. So funny enough, your win is actually my challenge. So I am a huge LinkedIn nut, I guess. Like, I've been posting on LinkedIn relatively consistently for over a year and a half, kind of like 5x'd my followers. I like thousands of times x'd my like impressions. Like, it's been really good. It's been a huge source of network connections, business connections, just overall building my personal brand. That's where it's all started for me. The last week and a bit though, I've posted maybe once, which is really abnormal for me. And so usually I post every day, Monday to Friday. And then I've also was into a cadence of posting on Instagram, doing a little bit more of like this moto vlog
Yes.
podcast style. And I have so much content that I've created that I need to chop up, edit, and post, but I just haven't been doing it, especially on the Instagram side. But then the me falling short has been like everywhere on the social media, so I haven't been posting on LinkedIn. So like my challenge is like almost restarting on specifically at least LinkedIn, because like that's like where most of my personal brand lives and most of my following lives, and then getting back into like actually posting video content as well too, which I personally find a little bit more difficult to get out there outside of like these podcast formats.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think you like you said, the starting part is sometimes the hardest. I would say even the restarting part is also the hardest. And so, you know, part of it is like kind of like the pains I've been going through, all that sort of jazz. But to me, I think it's just an excuse. Like, you know, you got to be able to be consistent and be resilient. You have to be doing it even when you don't feel like doing it. And so I've been kind of beating myself up over like not doing it, even though because I haven't felt like doing it. I was like, you just need to freaking do it, Corey.
Do it.
Yeah. So yeah, my approach is just going to be like, even though I kind of feel a little bit crappy, feel a little bit under the weather, a little pain, I just going to put my head down and just start posting again and just do it, even if they're short. You know, they don't have to be like maybe even the best posts in the world, but even just the act of just getting something out there is better than doing nothing at all. So that's my challenge, and I think that's how I'm going to approach it as well too. Is just, yeah, do
You know
it
what?
even when I don't feel like doing it.
What a little bit of advice, I guess. What
Yeah.
helped me in the past when I was an influencer, when I was posting regularly, I started posting not for the people that were viewing the content. I was actually mostly posting for producers of talk shows and representatives of PR firms who I worked with on product integrations. Like, I posted with the purpose to stay connected professionally. This was on social, this was on Instagram. It wasn't
Yep.
LinkedIn, because that was the platform and the conversation that I needed to lead. And I think that that kept me accountable. Where that fell apart for me was when I stopped caring about that world. So I was moving on to film, and I no longer wanted to do that. And honestly, that's why I stopped posting it, because it was now extra effort for viewership, and I didn't necessarily care about the viewership
Right.
that accumulated. And because I didn't want the business anymore, I didn't care anymore. Now I'm seeing more, my connections within film are growing. And last night I was at a premiere of the show Gen V, and I was invited by a casting director who I met about 9 months ago when I first moved to LA, and we stayed in touch over Instagram. And we have had conversations and interactions over Instagram over the course of these 9 months. We've stayed in touch because he'll post something, I'll post something, and then a conversation emerges, right? I am coming back to the point where instead of the talk show producers now, instead of the PR representatives, now I have the directors that I've worked with, the actors that I've worked with are following me. And it's becoming important to me to continue showing up on their timeline to stay in touch with.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't been regularly with it, but I'm feeling that weight come back, which is my encouragement to you, is think about the connections that you have on LinkedIn, because they already exist. And if you can, get inspiration off of the fact that you need to maintain those contacts and connections, and you need to continue to evolve it, because that's where my motivation fell apart when I had an audience.
Gotcha. I like that. I like that a lot because it is important. Like I have gotten a lot of great relationships, you know, both personally and business from that platform. So yeah, if just because I feel like doing it, I maybe just do it for them to keep those relationships alive and thriving because they're important. They've played a big role so far in my journey, and so I don't want to miss that. So give myself some grace. I know a week doesn't do much, but also a week can lead into two, which can lead into three. And the next thing you know, you haven't posted in half a year, you know, or a nobody to a lot of those connections again, right?
Okay, can I interject there? I really don't.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've said exactly the words that you've said to myself, and it's not true. What I've found, one, people don't keep track of how often or how little you post. If
Mm.
you have popped up on their feed for any frequency, they automatically think that you post often because in their mind, you got stuck in their head. So that's the automatic thing. The reason I know that is because I started posting insanely infrequently, and people still came up to me and were like, "Oh yeah, no, you post all the time." I was like,
Really?
once every 3 months is not all the time. The other thing,
Right.
the other discovery that I found, and this was what I did for the last 5 years when I switched to film, was I would only post one when I just wanted to, but whenever there was a win, I would post. What's
Mm.
interesting about that is because that's the only time you get into someone's head, they now tie you as someone always winning, always doing that thing, for better or
Right.
for worse. But for me, some of the interactions that I had was like, man, you've been like working a lot in film when it was
Hmm.
actually very infrequent. But it appeared to be because every time I got onto the top of that person's mind, I was working. So it's an
Gotcha.
interesting tool. Attention is an interesting tool, right? So if you feel called to post less, but it's quality posts, there's nothing wrong with that. No one's going to forget you or anything like that, right? It
Cool. Okay.
could be the evolution of what you need to do. Don't dismiss it.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. No, thank you for yeah, thanks for sharing that. That makes me feel a little bit better about it because I think sometimes when you've done something consistently just for as long as I've had now, like, you know, a year and a half straight is no joke, right? And so missing like missing a week or a week and a half here, like it just feels so out of the norm for me, right? So yeah, I think that's the this reminds me of this important kind of picture you see all the time. It's like when you look at your entire journey, imagine it kind of going up, in a graph in a step format, and you zoom in and maybe you have a step down, right? But you're still going up. It's like
Yeah.
don't sometimes just focus on that. Focus on like what you've done so far since you started, right? So this to me is like my step down, but I've also like so much further than what I was before, and just because I went down doesn't mean you're gonna lose all that progress, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I mean, this whole touch grass element, right? Like this whole segment is about us like going through the mental motions of it, right? And it's so important to have external friends that remind you of this. So I'm going to remind this to you. And for anybody listening, do this as a task for yourself. Either have a friend that you sit down with that is not an asshole and will remind you of your wins, but like Cory, you just closed
yeah,
two massive or several massive sales just last week, right? Those sales were a pipe dream a couple months ago.
yeah,
And
yeah.
those are substantial contracts that you needed to break through. And I believe that future sales will only be easier. So you are 100% on the upside. And with the upside, sometimes efficiencies need to be had. And if that efficiency means 3 posts instead of 5 posts a week on LinkedIn, close your sales, man. You're doing the real thing.
Totally. Yes. I love that you said that because I've seen this a couple times now, and I've had literally had that thought every day that I wasn't posting. I had good reasons for not posting beyond just like not feeling I don't want to, but not feeling I don't want to because like I had work to do that was important for like current clients or trying to close, potential clients. And so in my head, I was like, if I had to decide between posting something today or doing the work that will actually move the business forward, I should just do the work that's going to move the business forward. Right?
Yeah.
Posting, not posting for like a week or something like that is not going to, you know, be detriment to my business, but me not doing the work, like building proposals, getting on sales calls, going on client calls, those things, if I
Are
don't
gonna
do
affect.
those,
Yeah.
that will ruin the business, right?
The only thing I'll add to that is like there's seasons, right? So there's also the culmination of the work that you're talking about, then reinvested back into the frequency of sharing that work can then get you more,
Correct.
because now you are successful, and now people need to actually know that you are successful. And you honestly, your posts are probably going to be more insightful. You've learned things, you've done the thing. So it's just going to sound different. I have the same conversations with, like, I don't know, actors coming out of film school and stuff. Like, they'll give me their theory, and then I'll say,
Yeah.
in practice, this is how it's going to be. And it's okay. Like, you got to, like, reassure them. It's like, it's fine. Scrap all that. That's all extra weight. Like, that's why your teacher was paid a salary. Now, dismiss that. They got
Right.
paid. You learned. Now do the work.
Yep.
Got a thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's good.
I love that. Cool. Thank you, man, for that. And yes, everyone, what we do in this segment, definitely make sure you, like he said, like, find someone that's not an asshole, that can, like, remind you of your wins, but also, like, keep you grounded. Like, this was actually a very live version of, like, grounding myself in a different mindset. This is literally what the purpose of this segment was. So that was awesome. So thank you, Nick, for being such a great friend. Yeah. Love it.
Dude, copy.
Cool.
Copy it into your life. Everybody needs it. I need it. Everybody needs it. I need it all the time.
Yeah. All right. Awesome, man. I think it's anything else there. Are you good?
Honestly, I just want to, like, add this in as a closing statement. We really started this podcast before we hit record, where we're like, we don't want to do this today. Cory's going through some things.
True.
I was going through some things. And I feel better, but I feel like there's actually real conversations that happened, especially in that last part. So the takeaway for anybody out there is also to sometimes just do the thing, even though that even when you don't want to do it, because coming out of the other end, you may actually find something worthwhile, something very valuable.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for listening. Please feel free to give us a like or a review or a comment on whatever platform you found us on. And if you want to send Cory or I a direct message if something you found was super relatable, give us a shout on our socials. We'll put them in the description below. Thanks again for listening in and tuning in to Build and Breathe.